Welcome to Bite Size Bunny, my name's Tony, and these are the top 10 worst movies of 2024, at least in my opinion. Now, I haven't seen everything that's released in 2024, so I've probably missed out on a few truly awful titles, but let's get to it. While the 1994 version of The Crow is an excellent comic book movie that is a masterfully stylistic work of art, from its visuals and cinematography to its costume design and soundtrack, even the performances and action sequence, this movie oozes style in every scene. It still holds up to this day. 2024's version of The Crow, on the other hand, is a soulless take of this character and world. It's borderline insulting. While it did have me slightly intrigued during the first half hour where it's exploring Eric and Shelley's relationship, the moment it shifts gears into its revenge story, it becomes a truly unremarkable action movie that has nothing special about it. Megalopolis feels like a fever dream, and not in a good way. While I do really admire and respect the fact that Coppola did everything in his power to bring his passion project to life, the final product is a hot mess. It's overly convoluted. While it's very apparent the film has multiple messages and themes it is trying to convey, by the end of the film's runtime, it really says a whole lot of nothing. It's over-bloated with so many subplots and characters that feel like they really needed to be cut out of it entirely. There is an interesting concept somewhere underneath all of this, and I do think it probably would have benefited from being a full-fledged TV series, but as a film that has a runtime of 2 hours and 18 minutes, it bites off way more than it can chew. This is the most fun I've had in the theater all of 2024, and it is absolutely for all of the wrong reasons. I went and saw this on opening night, and thankfully I had a theater with a sense of humor because this is laughably bad. Throughout the entire film, not only was I having to fight the urge to laugh at some of the scenes due to how stupid and goofy they are, but the rest of the theater after a point just decided to give in and laugh at the dumpster fire that was taking place on screen as well. As a horror film, and just a film in general, this fails horribly. But I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't be more excited for part 2, and if it's not gonna be a good movie, hopefully at the very least it can continue to be an entertaining one. It's honestly impressive how bad Madame Web is. I don't know if I'm comfortable with saying it's so bad that it's good just yet, but it's definitely entertaining. Despite having some really talented actors, the dialogue is so horrific, it is impossible to deliver it any better. There are so many laughably bizarre moments and choices that are made throughout the entire film. Not to mention, you've got a horrendously bad villain with some of the worst ADR I've ever seen in a film, at least of this scale. The one thing I'll give Madame Web over the rest of the Sony Spider-Man movies is at least it's not boring. Speaking of boring, Imaginary is one of the biggest bores of 2024. As someone that goes to the theaters a lot, I was exhausted by this movie before it even released. The amount of times I have seen this trailer keeps me up at night. I waited for this one to hit home video, and yeah, it is just another one of your completely mundane studio-made horror movies that you watch, you forget about after a few days, and you go on with your life acting like it never actually happened. I'm still baffled that this even exists. How did we manage to get a movie about a haunted swimming pool? This feels like an SNL sketch that was stretched out to an hour and 40 minutes, except for it's not even trying to be funny. As a matter of fact, it takes itself way too seriously, making it a painful experience. I miss the days when I would hear Matthew Vaughn was attached to a project and that news would actually bring me excitement. Ever since that abysmal sequel to The Kingsman, his filmography has just progressively gotten worse and worse with each installment. Argyle is trying so hard to be clever and witty, but instead it's just irritating and loud. I honestly thought this came out last year, so when I saw it was a 2024 release, I knew it had to make it onto this list. Not even the stacked cast could save this one. Look, I don't think anyone honestly thought Borderlands was going to be any good the moment they revealed the cast for this project, but it's still somehow surprising that it is as bad as it actually is. This is everything that is wrong with video game adaptations throughout their bumpy history, wrapped up into one craptastic film. It barely even feels like a Borderlands movie. Instead, it feels like a butchered ripoff of Guardians of the Galaxy. Some of the costumes are cool on the background characters, but that's that's really the only positive I could give this movie.
Boo!
All three of the Rebel Moon movies are tied for second place. The theatrical version of Part 2, as well as both director's cuts, because at the end of the day, it's all just one big ol' shit sandwich. As someone that has enjoyed a lot of Zack Snyder's previous work and was genuinely excited to see his rejected Star Wars movie come to life, I was totally caught off guard by how much I ended up hating these movies. Not only did I hate these movies, but I ended up understanding why Disney didn't even want to touch his idea with a 10-foot pole. Yes, visually they are stunning, and if that's all you are wanting out of Rebel Moon, then hey, more power to you. But the fact that after watching the director's cuts of this story, which is over 6 hours long, and by the end of it, I still didn't care about a single one of these characters or this story whatsoever, is a massive problem. There's supposed to be sequels and a whole franchise built around this IP, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm dreading it. The worst part is it's a really simple story. It is the 7 samurai in space. It's not like they were trying to do anything groundbreaking here. They had the perfect blueprint to follow, and they failed miserably. Again, this is coming from someone that is a fan of Snyder's other work. I even think there's some enjoyment to be found in Sucker Punch. It isn't a good movie, but at least it's got some interesting ideas, and there's some great moments. Rebel Moon is just a pain to get through. It doesn't matter which version of the film you watch, it all sucks.
Boo!
And at number 1, I've got Kraven the Hunter. The best thing about Kraven is that it might have single-handedly killed Sony's Spider-Man universe that still, to this day, has no Spider-Man. While I thought Madam Web was so bad that it was fun, Kraven the Hunter, on the other hand, just feels like a lifeless corporate product. It doesn't feel like any love or care or even thought was put into this script. Everything about it feels so manufactured and phony. There's some truly incredible talent attached to this project, but even they couldn't save it despite their best efforts. But hey, while it may be the worst movie of 2024, I'd still rather watch it over Venom 2. And those are my top 10 worst movies of 2024. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, subscribe, and all that YouTube stuff. And what are your top 10 worst movies of the year? I'd love to know.